Greetings and welcome back to Samira TV. You know what it is, optimal health is wealth. And tonight we are going to be talking about mental illness and lupus. That's right, it is mental illness, mental health awareness month, and it's also lupus awareness month. So we will be talking about those two illnesses as it relates to our demographic, the people in our community, how it affects us and the people around us. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Mental illness. What do we know about mental illness? What do I know about mental illness? I know that it was a subject that here recently has become more and more relevant than in the past. It was almost kind of like a taboo to speak on mental illness when I was coming up. You know, people use the terminology like, oh, she's cuckoo, or he ain't got it all, or they elevated don't go all the way to the top. We hear all these terms, but you know, now I'm just like, okay, so is that what mental illness was all about? You know, it's sad, but that's how we used to view it. And it was more prevalent and relevant than we knew back then. Heck, you could be sleeping right next to somebody in your household that could have mental illness, and we look over it every single day, you know? How do we as people of color deal with the issue of mental illness? How have we been dealing with it in the past? I would say we really haven't dealt with it. Hence, that's why it's been rising in our community the way it's been doing. The numbers are up, especially in the middle of a pandemic. Can you imagine what's going on in the typical household? Not just people of color go through this. This is a non-color factor. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be doing a lot of speaking on, you know, people of color or black people or what have you, but my channel is not strictly for us. It's for us, but it's not limited to us. Anybody can learn, anybody can grow, and anybody can share. I just so happen to be born a color of person, and you know, I speak within those demographics of, you know, that's been my upbringing and my environment. So it's no knock, no shade on no other race. It's just I'm speaking my truth and from personal experiences. So yeah, let's look up mental illness. Okay. All right. So, okay, a mental disorder is also called mental illness, and it's defined as a wide range of conditions that affect mood, thinking, and behavior. What defines mental illness are, according to www.psychiatry.org, what defines a mental illness are health conditions involving changes in emotions, thinking, or behavior, or a combination of these Mental illness are associated with distress and or problems functioning in social work or family activities. Let's take a look at 4 different types of mental illness, okay? Anxiety disorders, personality disorders, psychotic disorders, eating disorders. Those are 4 types of mental illnesses. Now, according to newroadstreatment.org, here are 5 warning signs of mental illness to watch for, especially when you have 2 or more of these symptoms. Long-lasting sadness or irritability, extremely high and low moods, excessive fear, worry, or anxiety, social withdrawal, dramatic changes in eating or sleeping habits. All right. What's the difference between a mental illness and a mental disorder? A mental illness is a group of illnesses that are often diagnosed through standard criteria. Okay. Wait a minute. So the difference between mental health and mental illness isn't clear to many people. It's easier to understand the difference when you treat them as separate entities. Mental health is about mental wellness. We all have mental health. Mental illness is when someone is diagnosed with a mental disorder. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. And this is according to bloghiff.com. It says, what does it mean to be mentally healthy? Don't take your mental health for granted. Just like our physical health, we need to take action to stay happy and healthy. Fortunately, many things that are good for our physical health are also good for our mental health. So some of the things that we can do to ensure mental health is to get more sleep, make time for yourself, be active, manage stress, enjoy a healthy lifestyle, build up, a healthy eating lifestyle, and that's key. And we're going to talk a lot about that on this channel, but that's very key. Build up your confidence, meet with friends, set realistic goals, ask for help. That's key too. So I have a testimony. I'm gonna always come to y'all with these testimonies. So your girl, as I mentioned on my last video, I had to enter myself into a 72-hour mental facility hold. I don't know if anyone's out there has ever been on a 72-hour hold. I explained it on my last video as being scary, but it was. But I think it was a combination of everything. It was scary. What would have been scary is if I didn't know to ask for help. I think that's scary too, because how far would I have gone as far as with my mental illness? And at the time that I placed myself into this 72-hour hold, granted, I didn't know I had an increment, I think that's the word, increment, that maybe I had some mental illness, but I didn't know for sure because I hadn't been diagnosed. However, I just had a baby 8 months ago, and so I figured that it was some postpartum as well. But basically what happened was I just kind of like, I had a, people call it a breakdown, but I had a breakthrough. I went to go get my car fixed at the mechanic shop. I got very irritated because a piece wasn't there, a part for my car wasn't there that I needed, that I had thought that I had told the gentleman about that was fixing my car. But it wasn't necessarily that. It was a combination of a lot of things that was going on in my life. Just having a baby, being a wife for the first time. I had some family issues, so I had a lack of support from some close family members. What else? I got some legal issues, represent myself as my own lawyer. I got a couple of legal issues. I have a lawyer where I was living in an old house, and well, not an old house, but living in a house that I'm no longer living in that had mold in it. And so I'm fighting that with a lawyer. What else? I'm about to graduate from school. I'm homeschooling my children, which I had never really done that before. So all these new experiences and things, but a very key element was I had been molested, and I had never dealt with that. So I had been going to therapy for that to, you know, talk about it and be able to seek some professional help. And so I think that was the main trigger, because in my 40 years of living, I had never really dealt with that trauma. I didn't really talk about it, and so all of this is going on. So somebody would say, well, how did you end up in a 72-hour hold? Well, that's how I ended up there. It was just life and a lot of things going on, and I asked for help. Nobody sent me there. I requested to go. It was kind of messed up how I went. I went in cuffs, but I went, and I got the help that I needed. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a scary situation. Somebody once told me life is full of disasters that haven't happened yet. So that was one of those things where I just have to go through it. And when you go through it, then you know what I'm talking about. But good thing it wasn't jail. Shout out to everybody out there that's locked down. No offense to anybody. But when I was in the 72-hour hold, I'm not gonna lie, being that I didn't really know what to expect or anything like that, like I almost felt like they was gonna keep me there, like jail. But no, that's not. They assessed me and dismissed me with some more help to get along the way. And so that's that. Okay, so we're talking about mental illness. So basically, make a long story short, I'm going through therapy. I've been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I'm educating myself on all this, I was also diagnosed with acute psychosis. When I went to the 72-hour hold, they diagnosed me with acute psychosis. And then later on, my therapy sessions, they said I have symptoms of post-traumatic stress syndrome. I think I'm saying it right. I don't know, don't quote me on that. I'm still learning though, and that's the thing. I'm not scared to get on here and say I don't know it all. I really don't. But one thing about me is I'm a student, and I think it might be looked at as a weakness, but for me, it's a strength because I don't know it all, and I'm gonna always strive to know more. I'm always looking to attain more knowledge. So that's part of the reason why I'm on here, is to start a journey in a community of people who are on the same journey as me, who is just trying to better themselves mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. So, okay, back on topic. So yeah, mental health awareness. Now, so I also said we were gonna talk about lupus. All right, because it's Lupus Awareness Month too. Now lupus, let's look up lupus. I know a little bit about lupus because my mom had lupus, but we're gonna break this thing down a little bit and talk about what it is. Subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Oh my God. Shout out to all the YouTubers. I did not know y'all went through all this. I'm learning, I'm growing, and sheesh. All right, lupus. All right. Lupus is a chronic long-term disease that can cause inflammation and pain in any part of your body. A disease that occurs when your body's immune system attacks your own tissues and organs. So it's an autoimmune disease, lupus. Now, according to MayoClinic.org, it's the one that said lupus is a disease that occurs when your body's immune system attacks your own tissues and organs, which is an autoimmune disease. Inflammation caused by lupus can affect many different body systems, including your joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, brain, heart, and lungs. Lupus can be difficult to diagnose because its signs and symptoms often mimic those of other ailments. The most distinctive sign of lupus is a facial rash that resembles the wings of a butterfly unfolding across both cheeks. Occurs in many but not all cases of lupus. All right. Now those little butterfly things that they're talking about on people's faces and stuff, I think my mom had that on her face. Now, what I know from lupus with my mom having it is it does attack your joints and stuff. She did get arthritis along with the lupus. She was really young when she was diagnosed with the disease. From my understanding, when she was diagnosed, she was probably about, let me see, probably about, I don't know how old she was when she was diagnosed. I know how old she was when she told me. And she told me she had lupus when I was about 3-4 years old. So at that time, she was probably about 22, 23, somewhere around that age. She was 27, 28 when she passed away. So I know she, sometimes it was good days and bad days. Sometimes she'd get up and she would be feeling really well, and she'd get dressed and carry on her normal daily activities of living. Other days, she would get up and it would be hard for her to even walk. It would be hard for her to grasp items, to open containers, to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was like, she was like severely weak. Severe. The good days were good, the bad days were worse. My mom did have a drug addiction as well, but when she was diagnosed with lupus, she did not have a drug addiction. Well, being that I don't know when she was officially diagnosed, I would like to say it was around the time she told me that she had the disorder, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it really affected her. It's not a disease. It's not for play. It's a real sickness. And back then, a lot of the doctors and stuff, they didn't know much about it. So they were still trying to do their research. I mean, even now when I looked it up, you see it said that the cause of it is really unknown. Now, I'm doing some further research on it because I'm just like, if this is supposedly could be a hereditary illness, this is serious. So I need to know preventative things that I could do to make sure that I don't contract it, or my children don't get it, or, you know, something that we can go ahead and end this illness with, because it was horrible. It treated my mom really, really bad. I was a young girl, and here I am pretty much basically taking care of my mom like I'm a grown nurse. That's how weak it would have her. I'm 3-4 years old, climbing on top of kitchen counters and stuff, and like trying to fix her something to eat and stuff, like banging on containers to open up the Miracle Whip or the mayonnaise with a spoon, because it hadn't been open yet, and I'm banging on the top so I can try to open it and all this stuff, because that's how weak it would have my mom. Now, she told me that she had started doing drugs because the medication that the doctors were giving her wouldn't give her any relief. So, and also she was dealing with all these side effects and stuff from the medication. So she, you know, my mom, she never hid anything from myself and my brother. She had 2 children. I have an older brother that's a year older than me. So I'm laughing because it's funny, because this YouTube world is a trip, and I can see how it can be therapeutic. But anyways, back to the story. That's how bad it would have her down on days that we would literally have to take care of her, like nurse, cooks, masseuse, whatever. These young children having to take care of their mom. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Not a day. It was a pleasure. But yeah, so lupus is real. Now, let's see. Let's look up stats. We're going to go back and forth on this. Let's look up the mental illness in the Black community. Let's see if we can get some numbers. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, share. You know, I need 1,000 subscribers, so I need y'all to, you know, get my channel out there, support a sister. I ain't asking for no money. Just share my video, and let's get this thing going. Let's get it jumping. Let's get it jumping with some education, demonstration, motivation, and elevation. Let's go. Let's go. Mental illness. All right, mental illness. I don't know what I'm doing, but hold on, y'all. Y'all bear with me, okay? Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. This is my son's phone. Okay. This is a trip. All right. Now, according to MHA National.org, it says overall mental health conditions occur in Black and African American people in America at about the same or less frequency than in white Americans. However, the historical Black and African American experience in America has and continues to be characterized by trauma and violence more often than for their white counterparts, and impacts emotional and mental health of both youth and adults. Historical dehumanization, oppression, and violence against Black and African American people are evolved into present-day racism, structural, institutional, and individual. Let's see, where's the statistics? Okay, demographics. 13.4% of the U.S. population, or nearly 46 million people, identify themselves as Black or African American, and another 2.7% identify as multiracial. According to the most recent census data available, 55% of all Black and African American people lived in the South, 18% lived in the Midwest, 17%. Okay, what is this? The Black immigration. That's not what I'm looking for. This is supposed to be about mental illness. Well, I guess if you're living in poverty, you will have some mental illness. Okay. I thought this was going to bring up the stats. Alright, next time what I'll do is I'll have, alright, okay, non-Hispanic Asian, 20.8%. Non-Hispanic white, 51.8%. Non-Hispanic Black or African Americans, 37.1%. Alright? So 37.1% of African Americans are suffering from mental health, and this is 2021. I would say that's on paper, okay? That's on paper. I say we start doing some real stats, and individually, these journalists and the media and stuff, we're gonna have to start getting some real numbers, because I ain't believe it. I live amongst these people. I live amongst these people. They lying. You need more people who won't believe. All right. Okay, mental health statistics 2022. Let's look at the world percentage. It says 19.86% of adults are experiencing a mental illness, equivalent to nearly 50 million Americans. Okay, do y'all believe that? 19.8% of adults are experiencing a mental illness. Only 20%. What the CDC say? Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Let's look up lupus. How many people? Lupus statistics by race. It says by racial ethnic group, the percentage of patients with lupus or lupus nephritis were Black 40%, white 38%, Hispanic 15%, Asian 5%, Native Americans. All right, so we're leading. Y'all see 40%. 40% of Black people with lupus. Now, why are we leading? And the cause is really not determined. And it can be a hereditary disease. So what can we as people of color do to make sure that we can escape this illness? I'll wait. If I had to pick one thing, I would say eat the food, the lifestyle, the eating lifestyle. I think that that contributes to a lot more of these illnesses than we know. I really do. I think that's mainly the source of why we are leading in the numbers of diseases and illnesses. I mean, come on, man. What else could it be? It's got to have something to do with the culture. That's food. Food. So yeah, that's part of the main reason why I'm on here, y'all. I would not get on YouTube in the YouTube world if it was solely just to promote myself. I wouldn't. It has to be a bigger cause, and I know it's bigger than me, and it's to use my voice to bring awareness to these things. That's it. That's it. I'm bringing awareness, and hopefully I can help inspire and motivate somebody to change. To change the way they think. And it starts with what we're consuming. What we are consuming. The #1 consumers. We the trendsetters. You know what I'm saying? We lead in everything. And so we gotta decide on what we want to lead in. And I would rather lead in optimal health, because that's the real wealth. And we're gonna get to the bottom of a lot of this stuff. We're gonna continue to talk. We're gonna continue to build. We're gonna have interviews. We're going to have live streamings. That's why I need y'all's help. I need y'all to help get my channel subscription up, okay? So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that Samira is on the tube spreading the good news. Mental Health Awareness Month, Lupus Awareness Month, and, you know, optimal health as well. It's been real. I'm your girl, Samira, and this is Samira TV, and optimal health is wealth, is what it is. Peace. I'm out. Subscribe.